Maca, a fashion assistant, is trying to survive with a terrible boss. She gets scared when Leo, the man who broke her heart, comes back into her life as the boyfriend of an influencer she respects. Maca has spent most of her 29 years of life as a loser. She feels she is evolving now and becoming more daring. She encourages her friend, Adriana, to get a painful tattoo she is clearly not ready for. Maca assures Adriana that the only pain is in feeling weak when she's not. Adriana controls her breathing with Maca's help and tries to be grateful for all her problems. She pretends she's in love and happy with her husband Julian. She also assures herself that she believes in wedding anniversaries and her mortgage. Adriana's marriage is all about her pleasing Julian sexually till he is satisfied. Adriana has tried to convince everyone that she's asexual, but Maca feels she doesn't have to settle for less. Their other friend Jimena has her own problems. Her ex-boyfriend Santi perished while crossing the road 11 years ago. Since then, Jimena has been obsessed with things that can resurrect him. She recently ordered a reincarnation powder from Indonesia and is trying to find Santi in the flesh somewhere. Let's see how that goes. She keeps going on meaningless dates with the men who say or do something Santi would never do. She then starts over because she believes she will find him in some form. Maca admits she's not perfect either and hopes to be more self-confident and stronger. She hooks up with a gorgeous guy, Koke, once a week, who never pays for food. She doesn't care for that because their relationship is just about sex. She feels commitment leads to a black hole, so she just uses him for sex and doesn't care. She continues to not care till a song starts playing that reminds her of her ex-boyfriend, Leo. She keeps asking Koke to turn the music off, but Leo's memory overpowers everything. Maca works as an assistant for a fashion influencer, Pipa, and even writes her speeches. Pipa treats her badly and reminds her of a voicemail she sent at 4 in the morning. Pipa is on a diet for 20 hours a day after learning that women in Calcutta do it. Maca tries to educate her about religious fasting, but Pipa doesn't understand. Pipa doesn't even let Maca drink her tea because she doesn't want any distractions in the office. She asks Maca to not eat in front of her and starts wearing high heels. Maca imagines herself screaming at Pipa about how she can't wear heels because of the kind of work she has to do. Pipa also pays her in pennies despite making her work on weekends. Horrible bosses write themselves. Maca knows she can't expect anything, so she quietly eats on the toilet. She's practically a slave to Pipa and started working for her a year and a half ago. Pipa has never lied to her and told her from the start that she would treat Maca badly and make her cry. Pipa has reached number 9 in the national ranking of influencers this year. Maca knows it's all because of her hard work, but Pipa doesn't see that. Maca is always there to support her and manage her socials, while Pipa gets awarded the most inspirational influencer. Pipa repeats the heartwarming speech Maca wrote for her, but Maca gets no recognition for it. Maca feels hurt when Pipa thanks her sponsored serum in her speech instead of her. Maca screams in the bathroom and is worried when she doesn't have a tampon. She asks someone outside for help, who slips her a menstrual cup from her own brand. Maca can never use those properly, so she uses a tissue instead. She recognizes Raquel's voice, who is another influencer. Maca doesn't want to be rude to her, so she pretends she used the cup before stepping out to meet her. Raquel doesn't like how Pipa treats Maca and feels she should look for a job somewhere else. Raquel is sure that a woman of Maca's talents can easily get snatched by social media agencies. She promises to find new contacts for Maca and asks her to stand her ground. Raquel even gives Maca an award, since she feels Maca deserves it. Maca decides to wear her sneakers instead and stand her ground with Pipa. She informs Pipa that she's leaving early since she did overtime. She also claims she'll come late to the office. Pipa comments on her footwear in front of her friends and makes fun of how Maca can never pull them off. Maca wants to throw her heels in the trash, but they're too expensive. She informs her friends about how horrible Pipa is and how nice she feels after talking to Raquel. She spots Raquel sitting in a cafe, but feels numb when she notices that Leo is her date. She runs back to her apartment and tries to process that Leo is back. She remembers the time she met Leo for the first time at a party. She remembers how passionate their relationship was. Maca had started believing in fairy tales since everything with Leo seemed real and perfect. They always share an amazing connection, and it feels like they have something unique. Maca always thought she could never find this love with anyone else. She remembers the day Leo suddenly left her, and never even apologized. She has been stuck since then thinking that she can't be happy without him. Her friends come in the morning to force her into clothes so she can have carbs for breakfast. Maca assures them she's fine, but Jimena plays out the screaming message she got from Maca at 4 in the morning. Maca admits she has a lot of trauma because of Leo, but she's trying to feel empowered. While Adriana comforts her, Jimena tries to give her a reality check. Jimena doesn't believe Maca is fine, but Adriana is hoping she can change. Jimena points out how Adriana can't have sex with her own husband. Jimena then gets distracted by a man with a skateboard. That reminds her of Santi, so she starts chasing a stranger and follows him to a clinic. Well, at least they all have it together. She pretends that her back hurts and convinces Samuel to check it. When he examines her, she asks if he knows Santi's name. What an icebreaker. She keeps giving him science fiction references and feels victorious when he understands what she's talking about. Pipa has hired another gay intern, Luigi, who wears heels. Pipa wants to take Maca down a notch for showing her attitude. Maca points out she was standing up for her rights, but that doesn't help. Luigi is cold to Maca and pretends he knows more than her when he doesn't. Adriana works at a wedding dress shop and assures a customer that she will look great. Maca suggests Adriana should have sex in public places, but she has already tried some role-playing. She's also considering a threesome. The customer starts screaming since the dress doesn't fit her when her wedding is in 4 days. Maca blames her fiancé for having an issue with her gaining 5 pounds. She tries to talk the woman out of marrying the wrong guy, which Adriana knows is bad for her business. Adriana takes the customer away to get the dress fixed before Maca does more damage. Maca meets Koke, who is tired of his muscles cramping in the car. He suggests going to his place, but Maca doesn't like that it's always messy. He wonders if she's having feelings for him, but she assures him he has nothing to worry about. Raquel has arranged for some contacts to meet Maca at her eco art exhibition that Saturday. She is sure a lot of people in the industry will hire her, and that Maca needs to leave Pipa. Maca's 2 alter egos try to convince her why she should or shouldn't go to this party. One of them thinks Raquel's contacts can help Maca's career. The other one feels it's too painful to go to a party where Leo will be present too. Maca ends up going to the party and looks around. Leo calls out to her when she's having a drink and wonders why she's there. Maca tries to casually explain that she's trying to build contacts. Raquel is surprised they know each other, so Leo claims they only dated for a bit years ago. Leo hopes Maca doesn't remember him, so Raquel also doesn't pay attention and calls him to talk to an artist. Leo finds Maca trying to relax herself with a stress ball. Well, those always work. Leo is curious about her looking for a job, but she thinks it's weird he is dating an influencer. He attacks her for not finishing her law studies, but she claims it's because young people tend to waste their time. Leo always wanted to be a bohemian philologist, and now he's in Madrid teaching at the university. She makes fun of him for not achieving his dreams, but Leo feels he at least had one. She feels everything is going great for him, and doesn't like it. She's more frustrated that he rented an apartment downtown that is too pricey for a teacher's salary. He explains that he has been granted tenure. He knows she doesn't like his success, and feels she should get over what happened a long time ago. Maca feels it is unfair that she's supposed to get over it when he never apologized. She's frustrated about him being a coward, and tries to throw the ball at him. Before leaving the party, Maca lets Raquel know that she and Leo dated for 5 years. She wants to ruin Leo's life, and needs to let Raquel know that he's a free spirit. She thinks it isn't fair for a nice girl like Raquel to suffer too, so she fills her in for the sake of sisterhood. Keep telling yourself that. Maca insists that Leo broke her heart and treated her like trash. She asks Raquel to run away before it's too late. Samuel examines Jimena's back as a physiotherapist, but she asks what he thinks about love. He finds that weird, but she somehow convinces him to have a drink with her too. That quick drink turns into amazing sex, and she likes him more when he asks for Nesquik afterward. Santi used to do that too. This is not weird at all. Adriana and Julian prepare to have a threesome with Julia. They all seem to have fun, but Adriana finds herself getting more attracted to Julia. Leo sends Maca flowers to offer condolences for the loss of her dignity. She walks straight to the School of Humanities, where he teaches. Leo assigns a paper to his class and asks them to reflect on love-induced madness. He describes authors from the 19th century, who viewed a woman's idea of love as a mental illness. They felt women couldn't distinguish between expectations and reality. Maca calls him insensitive in front of his students, and insists he doesn't understand basic emotions. When the whole class cheers for her, Leo clarifies that this is not his personal opinion. Maca still feels he can take a critical approach. Leo does his best to reassure the students. No one believes him, and another student comes out in Maca's support. They also feel romantic pressure is making women want to settle for the wrong guy these days. Can't argue with that. Maca inspires a revolution in the class and asks them to protest. Leo begs Maca to stop ruining his life, but she reminds him how stupid it was to send those flowers. Leo asks her to act mature, but Maca hates it when he keeps talking down to her. She knows it's not her fault she loved him and suffered after their breakup. Leo claims the breakup affected him too, and insists he still has feelings for her. He flirts with her and tries to kiss her. She finally gives in and starts remembering the old times. She soon realizes this is just a game for Leo because he wants her to lose for humiliating him. Leo thinks they're even now, but she's upset that he hurt her again. Maca remembers the day she waited for him to rent an apartment. Past Maca keeps calling Leo, but he's at the airport and ignoring her. Pipa brings Maca back to reality since they're headed to Milan for work. Pipa wants Maca to download her relaxation app and doesn't want any mistakes. They face turbulence, but Maca tries to stand up for herself and asks Pipa to not make fun of her again. As the turbulence gets worse, Pipa realizes she wants to be remembered as a role model if she perishes. She messes up her hair so Maca can record a video for her fans. Pipa asks her fans to send love since she's sure the plane might crash. She assures them she's remembering them in her thoughts. As Pipa continues to be scared, Maca spots Leo on the plane. Leo finds it weird that she's thinking of him in her last moments, even if she hates him. He agrees to grant her last wish and have sex with her in the bathroom. She gets excited and takes him to the bathroom, but locks him in. She wakes up next to Pipa and realizes it was all a nightmare. She still feels her locking Leo in her dreams is a sign that she's over him. She wonders what's going on in her friends' lives. Adriana claims the threesome was not a big deal, but she's still thinking about Julia sexually. Adriana still insists she wants to fix things with Julian and never wants a divorce. Jimena ended things with Samuel when he got excited about a hamster. This makes her think he was not Santi. Maca and Adriana feel this relationship is going great, but hamsters are a deal breaker for Jimena. Maca gets an idea, and Jorge comes over to Jimena's place. He's an actor sent by Maca and Adriana to pretend he's Santi. They give him a list of everything they know about Santi, so his answers to Jimena are convincing. He's worried about playing such a role, but the girls assure him it'll be over after 2 dates. They just want him to go to Jimena as Santi and liberate her by breaking up. They ask him to improvise and promise to pay him whatever he wants. Jimena starts quizzing Jorge, but he seems to know all the answers. He claims Jimena's name started popping in his head 2 months ago, so he needed to find her. He has correct answers to everything she asks, so she kisses him. She texts Maca to let her know she has found the real Santi. Leo apologizes to Maca for everything he did with her. He knows it was wrong to leave without an explanation, but claims he didn't mean to hurt her. He wants her to know it was hard for him too, and asks if they can be friends. Adriana turns up at Julia's apartment and starts making out with her. Maca invites Raquel to an event and adds a +1 for her. She's hoping it isn't Leo, because she doesn't want to see him. Pipa gives Maca an errand, but she runs into Raquel on the way. Maca learns from Raquel that the bag Pipa gifted her was a gift she didn't like. Pipa has been planning to give it away since too many people touched it. Maca feels bad, especially for what she said about Leo. Raquel asks her to not worry because that incident made her communicate better with Leo. She asks Maca to join her and Leo for dinner and bring a date too. While Jimena is out with Jorge, she gets a text from Samuel wondering what he did wrong. Jimena invites Jorge to an exhibition, but he would rather hang out at the skate park Santi liked. Maca brings Coque as her date to the dinner with Raquel and Leo. She asks him to pretend they're in love, and he's very intelligent. Maca pretends she's planning to move into a fancy apartment with Coque. Raquel shares their plans of moving to the countryside, but Maca already knows Leo loves the city. Raquel still feels it's time Leo connects to Mother Earth. Leo is curious about Coque and keeps interrogating him. Maca changes the topic and teases Leo for sounding like an old man. She also teases him about wearing smoking jackets since he was a kid. Leo only knows that the jacket disappeared mysteriously years ago, and he blames Maca for it. Maca feels it must be in the same place he left it, and they both laugh about it. Raquel and Coque get a little uncomfortable with his inside joke. Well, this is awkward. Leo brings up another fond memory with Maca, but she quickly changes the topic to ask Raquel about urban gardens. Leo doesn't think Coque is the right one for Maca and feels she shouldn't move in with him. Both the couples still decide to get together like this again sometime. Maca is confused about Leo, so she leaves a message for Adriana. Maca decides to stop by her work for lunch because Adriana is the most sensible of them all. She notices Adriana with Julia and is shocked that they're kissing. Pipa shows Maca a dress she's wearing for her date. She asks Maca to organize everything in her huge closet till that night. Maca gets a message from Raquel, who is passing around her resume. Leo turns up at Maca's workplace to apologize. He asks her to join him for dinner and insists he wants an opinion on teaching about love in contemporary literature. Maca asks him to connect emotionally with the article he's working on. She wants him to get inspired by the people around him. Leo feels it's too hard to reflect on his own memories. Adriana and Jimena are worried because Maca has been missing for a while. Adriana asks Jimena about the fake Santi, who seems great to her. Adriana texts Jorge to ask why he hasn't broken up with Jimena yet. This is when he admits he's in love with her. Jimena is also sure Jorge is her man like Julian is Adriana's. Maca feels Leo seems more mature, but is the same person. She feels if they dated now, things would be different. She clarifies that she's not interested, because she wants Raquel and him to be happy. Leo admits what they shared was very special, and he only has happy memories. He feels that relationship made them who they are. Maca doesn't know who she is, so Leo explains how he sees her as a fantastic and stubborn woman who starts a riot in his classes. He even compliments her eyes but gets conscious. He seems distracted when Raquel asks him to check a house she likes. Jorge tries to prepare his speech for Jimena about a message from Santi. He mostly wants her to know they're amazing and work great together. Jimena likes that he's funny, and they quote The Lord of the Rings together. Adriana is very happy with Julia, but she knows they can't continue like this in secret. Adriana admits she keeps thinking about her, but has commitments. Leo wants Maca to know it's not her fault that he and Raquel broke up. He admits he hasn't stopped thinking about Maca since he saw her again. He knows he was horrible, and that Maca has every right to be mad at him. He feels lost without her, and admits that he loves her. She feels overwhelmed because he's there around her even when she can't see him. He kisses her, and they rush to her apartment to have sex. Surely, this will end well. They're both happy this time and don't have any guilt. Maca also wakes up in the morning feeling fresh and prepares an elaborate breakfast for him. She realizes she was just imagining, and whips up something mediocre. Leo still appreciates the gesture. Maca invites Adriana and Jimena to Pipa's grand mansion. Pipa is in Ibiza that weekend, so Maca wants the girls to have fun. Maca shows them the closet and asks them to take whatever they want. Pipa doesn't even remember half the things she got as gifts. Adriana wants to confess something, and Maca hopes it's about Julia. Adriana instead shares that she's planning to have a baby with Julian. Maca is surprised, but pretends to be happy for her. They decide to celebrate outside, but Maca gets a call from Good Mode magazine. The editor, Clément Dubois, has called her after getting a great reference from Raquel. They want Maca for their magazine's new social media strategy in the communications department. The position is also in Paris, and not Madrid, and they need an answer in 2 weeks. Maca is excited and promises to not let them down. She joins Adriana and Jimena at the party, and they all dance and celebrate. They remember their matching tattoos and promise to be together forever. Maca admits that she loves Leo and feels all fluttery when she's with him. Jimena feels she's going down memory lane, but Adriana notices that Maca is texting Leo. Adriana is pissed that Maca got back with him after everything he did to her. Adriana reminds her she needed to empower herself. Even Jimena thinks she left them for Leo. Maca tries to defend herself. She attacks Adriana for liking Julia and still wanting to get pregnant with her husband. Jimena is confused, so Maca clarifies that she saw them together. She has seen how happy Adriana is with her, and wants her to have the courage to be with Julia. Adriana doesn't think Maca has a right to comment on her life when she refuses to move on from her first boyfriend. Jimena asks if they have more secrets, so Maca asks her to move on from her deceased boyfriend. They push Maca into the pool and leave. All of them decide to run away from their uncomfortable truths. Adriana pretends things are fine with Julian, but she doesn't know what to say when he fixes a time to have sex. Jimena also asks Jorge to marry her. Clement reminds Maca she has 3 days to decide, and she promises to get back to him soon. Just when she feels the job with Pipa isn't so bad, she asks Maca to find her eggplant belt. Maca informs Leo about her job offer at a magazine but doesn't reveal the location. Leo is proud of her and feels it's time she stops working for Pipa. He doesn't let her share more details, and she also forgets everything when he confesses his love for her. They spend a lot of good time with each other and are in love again. Julian has already asked about paternity leave and is excited about this new step with Adriana. Jorge admits that Jimena's friends paid him so she could let Santi go. He also admits his feelings for her. Jimena laughs about I and confirms if he's an actor. When he asks if she still wants to marry him, she runs away. She finds Samuel when he's with a client and distracts him through the door. She asks him out and is glad he still feels the same way. Leo brings Maca to the apartment they almost bought together all those years ago. He admits he has always been in love with her and he doesn't want to let her go now. He wants to live in that house with her and have breakfast on the same balcony every morning. Maca remembers the time she and Leo came to check out the house in the past. Present day, Maca confronts the past Leo and asks him to tell her younger version about his scholarship. Maca realizes Leo needed to go alone for the scholarship all those years ago, which is why he didn't tell her about it. She understands it now, but asks young Leo not to break her younger version's heart. She knows she can't change the past, but she understands what she needs to do now. She admits to Leo that her job is in Paris, and offers to let him come with her. He gets confused because of his job and asks if this is about what happened in the past. Maca assures him this decision has nothing to do with him. She feels free for the first time and runs to Pipa to let her know what a nightmare she is. Maca quits her job with Pipa, who doesn't take it well. Maca calls her friends, but they don't pick up. She records a video for them so they know she's moving to Paris and has broken up with Leo. Their relationship was going great, but she knew this job is more important. She hopes her friends are proud of her, and she wants the best for their lives too. Jimena has also found love in Samuel, and Adriana leaves her home to move in with Julia. Maca is proud of who she is in Paris and is constantly in touch with her friends. She knows it's important to love herself first if she wants to love someone else. She envisions another alternate ending for herself, where Leo packs his bags and comes to Paris to be with her.